So in this video, I want to take a look at a game which is pretty shocking looking back on it for a couple of reasons. One is just how long ago this game was played, almost 6 years. The other reason is how badly I played and how badly my opponent played. Now, my opponent, as you can guess by the title, was not a chess master as I had been led to believe. So the game started with d4. I believe back then I had been playing d4 exclusively for a couple of years. We have d5, knight f3, knight f6, c4. So now we have a queen's gambit declined. And here we transpose into a Slav. And I played knight c3, bishop f5, which is not the most common move in this position. And well, I think white has a pretty decent advantage after this move. And well, here I decided to exchange, which tends to be a drawish line from what I know. But a draw against the master, well, it's better than losing. So queen b3, attacking both pawns, the d pawn and the b pawn. Now in this position, my opponent just made a pretty bad mistake. I mean, you might even call it a blunder with queen d7. The computer suggests this move. Now this is an old engine. Gives this line, which is doesn't really make sense to me. So allowing to take on b7 and then just offering a trade of queens. And I just do not see the compensation. You could make the argument that you have better development, 2 pieces against 4, but after the bishop moves, you could even play rook c1, although you don't have to because the knight is really not allowing the rook to come to c2. I mean, maybe you do have some compensation, but I don't think it's enough. But I think queen d7 is just much worse. One of the main moves in this position is queen b6. And after knight takes, queen takes. I believe Maxime Vachier-Lagrave played this against Ding Liren, and he won that game. Well, I think everyone is pretty much winning with white in this line. I mean, it has a very high percentage of wins. It's gotta be over 95%, if not close to 100. So after queen d7, well, 95, attacking the queen. Queen goes to c8. And if I had this position now, maybe I would play something like bishop f4. But, well, taking the pawn, I mean, I don't really see anything wrong with it. Except I was surprised by my opponent with this move, which I thought I just blundered a piece because I thought I was playing a master. And, well, I played queen a4 check, knight c6, and here I played knight f4. The engine likes knight b4, and I think this is all the engines, they just like this move. So bishop d7, takes, and basically you just trade everything. And after something like g3, white is just better. black has these two isolated pawns, and well, you're gonna play bishop g2, hitting the pawn, and if this bishop moves, the rook is gonna come and put more pressure. White has no weaknesses. White has the pair of bishops. So after knight f4, another blunder, queen c7. The only chance to stay in the game was bishop d7. And this position should be fine for black. After queen c7, well, I just take the bishop. These two pawns are just terrible. Bishop d2 just developing. There's also ideas of rook c1. Knight e4 hitting the bishop. And here I didn't want to move the bishop again along this diagonal. So I just blundered basically. Better is just e3, and well, the engines just really like this move, which is very visual. Obviously you can't take because so you have to go something like queen b5, and well, I think most humans would just take the bishop, but after bishop a5, even though the knight can't take the bishop, the queen can, which is what happened. And well, now I'm just down a piece. But even so, the engine, well, eventually the evaluation is going to change, and you're going to see that black maybe has a 2-pawn advantage, which is understandable because you have these double isolated pawns. The king is stuck, can't really move. This bishop is not developed, this rook is not in the game, this rook is not in the game, this knight just is on the side of the board. The only good piece is this knight. So after rook c1, well, now white can't castle. So after g6, e3, bishop g7, check, and here my master opponent blundered mate in 1. And at first I couldn't believe it. I was like, is this really mate? But yeah, knight f7 is mate. Much better was king f8. And well, I mean, if you just flip the board, you only have 2 choices. You can go king d8 or king f8. So after king f8, you can play something like b4 because there is nothing else. I mean, there is no mate. I mean, this move looks attractive as well, but the engine really likes b4. And after something like this, I'm not saying that this is the best move, but I was like, well, why can't you just take? And here rook c8, pinning the bishop, so you obviously cannot take because, well, you're just losing everything. So you have to play b5 instead, and this position is obviously still better for black, but you could make the argument that hopefully you can push the pawns and maybe get a passer. That might give you enough counterplay to at least not lose the game, and maybe you can target this weak pawn at some point. But yeah, so that's how I beat a fake master in 18 moves. Anyway, I hope that you liked the video, and if you did, hit the like button and share and subscribe, and thank you for watching.